Hey everyone, so excited to be here today. I have so much information I want to share with you, so make sure that you hold on tight. It's going to be, most of you will probably know a lot of this. A lot of it's going to bring a lot of clarity to a lot of you, and I'm hoping, it's very, very, very much my hope that it will remove a lot of the fear that resides in a lot of you. Meaning that I want to give you some information today that's going to bring back the power that already resides within you that you don't believe is there. The power that you have to heal yourself, the power you have to avoid being part of this circus we see happening in our world, where we do not have to be a participant in it. Remember, we are in this world, but we are not of this world. So when you understand how to play the game in this matrix, then you'll be able to feel more confident in showing up every day, being the best version of you, instead of living in fear or worried about what is going on. We have to learn that this is a circus. We do not have to participate in all the drama. And this is where I want to go today. So where I want to start off here is first by starting about some of the obvious things that's taken place that might not be such positive information, but it is what it is. So let's look at how these cults, I'm just going to call them cults so we don't have to go into the explanation, how they were able to do what they've done to humanity for thousands of years. So we all can go into the idea that they've been brainwashing us, right? They've been studying our brain. They did the Human Genome Project. They're studying the genome. So these races are trying very hard to understand how we tick, in ways of understanding how they can manipulate us, but also in ways of how they can mimic our infinite intelligence. That's where the artificial intelligence has come from. When people aren't awake, they're looking at artificial intelligence and they're looking at it like a god would look at something, like, oh my God, like, look at this. This is incredible that this is available to us. Where I want all of you to really understand this. You and I are infinite intelligence, which means we do have access to infinite intelligence, wisdom beyond what you can imagine right now in your intellect. And this is where I want you to understand that artificial intelligence is fake. Okay, it's a copy of who you and I are. And the field that we reside in holds this information. They're copying it and making a false version of this. This is where I want you to understand from the beginning. Don't look up to AI. AI is a copy of who you are and what power you have access to. So I want to take us into where a lot of you can find online the CIA. The CIA forever has got documents now that you can read where they have really wanted to hone in on the psychic abilities of a human. Understand telepathy, understanding direct cognition, understanding teleportation, levitation, consciousness just in itself. There's even documents on the law of attraction where the CIA is trying to understand the laws within this universe and how we interact with them. So there is so much of this, and remote viewing was huge for the CIA. They say it was because they wanted to be able to spy on their enemies. You have to understand who the enemies were. They're the humans, humanity. That's who they're spying on. I'm not saying they never used it in their military war, but don't think that this is what they wanted to learn more about it for. It was to understand how they can spy on humanity and understand the psychic abilities, the intrinsic spiritual aspects of humanity that these creatures do not have any access to. And they wanted to learn more about us so then they can learn how to control us. Okay, so MK Ultra, studying the brain, understanding, our telepathy, understanding, the invisible psychic abilities that we all have, understanding the atoms in our body, the quantum level of who we are, wondering what the DNA can do, our consciousness. Everything about this is invisible. Doesn't mean it's not real. It's invisible to the physical eye of human beings, but the humans can see it if they were made aware of this information. Every time we get new information given to our bodies, to our minds, to our spirit, we elevate, we get activations within our whole entire field. And when you activate your field, you're able to evolve. You're able to tap into information outside of your 3D self and be able to bring it down into you where you can move and evolve here as a physical being. When we hear about spiritual evolution, when you hear about you have to be service to others, there is a complement, there is a wholeness that is necessary. There isn't just a human being here. You are part of a wholeness. You're not separate. The spirit or soul needs the human to work together to be able to evolve in your spirituality, but also to take action in the physical world. And this communication has been kiboshed, and it's not happening anymore. The physical human seems to feel like it's on its own. And as you can see, when you look at the majority of humanity, just working alone as a human being, all alone, where everything you need and everything that will bring you value is outside of who you are. How well is that working when the human's all by itself trying to do things in the physical world, trying to create a life that they love, trying to move forward in whatever it is that they're doing in their business, in their life, trying to heal themselves, trying to create love and relationships? How is that working when you look at humanity? It's not working too well because it's missing a huge component of who it is. And here's the thing, you're never not connected, even though consciously you may believe you are. We're so ignorant where some people don't even know they are connected to anything else outside of themselves. You are a multi-dimensional being. You have a soul, oversoul, avatar. There's many units of consciousness, parts of you in this matrix that is constantly communicating to you. And here's the thing, we are ignoring them, or we don't even understand what it is. So we just keep going through life, navigating the 3D matrix. Now, I want to take us into what's going on right now with the injections. What we have learned from our scientists that are willing to share this information is that at an atomic level, they're noticing what is in these nanotechnology is actually starting to alter our atoms in our body. They're starting to change their angular rotation and the particle spin of the atoms within our body. Now that is quantum physics, okay? This is where I wanted to take this conversation today, where it is not about the physical. The physical is an expression of the quantum. It's an expression from the invisible into the physical or the visible. So where we're all looking is in the wrong spot. We're all looking in the already manifested physical, visible world. But we're not looking in the direction where everything starts, where everything begins. And this is where they know, right? These species know where to change things, where to move evolution in the way they want to direct it. They're coming in at the quantum level. That's where we are. So this is where I want to take you into introducing you, if you don't already know, that you have, some of you have heard of an aura. Some of you have heard that we have an energy field that surrounds us and moves to and through us. Okay, this is great, but we need to get more clarification and then embodiment on what is really going on. You and I have to own the vehicle that we are part of, and we have multiple vehicles. The physical vehicle that we use to maneuver and navigate the 3D realm is like, let's look at this as an example. I want you to look into a mirror, and what you're seeing reflected back to you in the mirror is the hologram. That's your 3D reality, is what you see in the mirror. But for the mirror to reflect something back to you, there must be something in the invisible. There must be something showing the 3D world something to express. And this is where I want you guys to understand at a really easy and simplified level, because quantum physics and the science they have been targeting humanity at, most don't understand it because there's no one learning this in school, because they can't let you understand you. Because the moment you understand who you are, you not only become not controllable anymore, but you're able to heal yourself. You're able to tap into the information and your higher selves in multiple dimensions. See, if people don't think there's such things as multiple dimensions, then you've got to ask the question, what is CERN being used for? CERN has already admitted in many articles that it's used to bring in entities from multiple dimensions and many other nefarious things. There are rituals constantly being done outside of CERN. So if you didn't believe that you are part of a multi-dimensional matrix, this vehicle, this tool is something that they created. These are done by the entities that have taken over our world. This is a tool. This is a quantum type of generator that is able to bring in different entities, different energetics from multiple dimensions, multiple timelines. Don't look at CERN as like some innocent thing that just humans made up to test atoms banging into each other. That is just what they want us to think. So this is where I really hope people understand that they've got us out here in the 3D world fighting matter against matter, instead of going into the quantum, making the shifts and then seeing the shifts change in the matter world, if you will, the material world. They've got every human being out here running around and chasing their tail in the 3D material world. Well, most of you have watched a lot of my reels where I say you can't change matter with matter. Force negates. You have to change it in the invisible before it becomes visible. You can't change the visible from visible. I hope that makes sense to all of you. So this is what these entities know more about us in terms of science. This is why you could never separate anything, to be honest with you, but you can never separate science and spirituality. You are one. Okay, you have a spiritual side of yourself, and you're also made of matter. So you have different densities of matter as you move closer back to God in our matrix. As you move into your soul matrix, you are less dense. So this is science. So to say that you have to separate science from spirituality, oops, I will never say religion. It is absolutely a weird and wrong way of looking at things. It's impossible to do so. So to most people, a biofield, the aura, is invisible. It's an energetic field. It's an exchange of information. Most people hopefully know that this is an energy matrix. It's full of energy. Energy can never be created or destroyed. It is isness. It's constantly here. It can never just come out of nowhere and disappear into nowhere. It's always here. And it carries information. And depending on the frequency and the wavelength or the bandwidth, the information changes. So this is how easy it is to understand it. You and I, like epigenetics is sharing, we are like a radio tower. Our biofield is always interacting not only with your body, with the multiple dimensions of you in different timelines, but it's also interacting with your environment. And this is where I talked about it a couple weeks ago, how important your environment is. So what I want to share with you is when you are in an environment that is bringing into your biofield hurtful, targeted, detriment energy frequencies that will harm you physically. This is where I want you guys to understand. You're not being harmed in the 3D world. You're being harmed in the quantum field where you actually exist. And the disease, the symptoms are manifesting in that mirror we just talked about. Now let's use examples. Any of you who want to earn more money in a business, what are you doing? You're working more jobs, you're spending more time away from your family, you're trying hard, okay? So whatever you resist persists. So whenever we're trying hard to do anything, I want to share with all of you, you're out of alignment with who you came here to be, and you're not in alignment with the laws. You're working against the cosmos. This is what I want all of you to know. The paradigm of thinking that you have to try hard or work hard to get any benefits to feel like you've done it is backwards. Like even go into Yoda when it says you do not try, you just do. There is no trying. Trying is something like a setup for human beings to think one day if I try hard enough. Well, the try is a trap. When you send out the trying energy, like I just finished sharing, our biofield, we are surrounded by information. And if you're going to send out the information codes of trying, you're going to spend your whole entire lifetime trying and resisting everything. This is what people have to understand about the field. So when you look at that, for example, with money has been put on some symbolism pedestal, which it shouldn't be. Money is just energy, just like a bark of a tree or a cell phone you're holding. But the humanity have put it on a separation and a hierarchy, a pedestal. Well, if you have something in your own mind, a symbol that is separate from you, you will never ever have it because it's got time and space in between it. What you have to understand is you are not separate from anything. And there is no symbolism of hierarchy or godlike. Money should not ever be looked at it in that way. This is what holds money back from everybody. So when you're trying to earn more money for your life, to experience more, there's nothing wrong with that. The idea of guilt around having more money was a setup as well. Nobody should feel guilty about living in abundance. Every single one of us came here to live in abundance. And that isn't just about having the money, because in this particular matrix, in this particular time in our lifetime, money is the need for exchange. It's the need for certain experiences. But that's only a temporary thing, and you'll see that soon. But where we are now, we needed it. We don't need to put it on a pedestal. The most important thing is you and who you are being. So the energy of exchange and having more money, but abundance also means health. Look at the abundance of health in our world. Isn't it abundant how many people are healthy? This is also abundance. And also abundance in love. Let's look at how abundant our world is of love. So when I say that abundance is our birthright, people think of abundance in terms of finances, in terms of economy. You have to open your mind and realize, start thinking a little outside of the 3D trap, the box that we've been put in. You are more expanded than that. You have more wisdom and knowledge than that. You are more than that. And you are here to experience abundance. Now, I'm not saying you're never supposed to have challenges. Of course, there's going to be challenges, but challenges and fighting against reality and fighting in the matter are totally two different things. When we find that we're having challenges in our life, this is our way of talking to our higher self. This is the communication that we all have through our psychic abilities, through our intuition, through using our pineal gland, which is what? The seat of our soul. So yes, my friends, you are a soul. Okay. And you have a pineal gland that is not all calcified like they're trying to make it look like. They have been trying forever to calcify our pineal gland, but none of us have a solid calcified pineal gland. So please let go of that belief, because if you hold on to it, you will have one. That's how they trap us with their spells, guys. That's how they get us to believe things that aren't true. Words cast spells. Stop believing mainstream media. It's poison. Start listening to your higher self through your inner self, right? The inner space, not the outer space. So trying hard and challenges is different. So when you're in a world, the 3D matrix, and you're out here navigating it, anything that challenges you, it's trying to get you to turn around, pivot, do something different, because you're not in alignment with where you're meant to go, with your purpose, with why you came here. Now, your consciousness, your intellect, the programmed mind, right, has already been hijacked. I shared that. So it's going to tell you, no, the logical way to do things is this way. Let me tell you guys, nothing spiritual. Nothing in the quantum is logical. Are you kidding me? Everything's illogical and it feels like impossible, but it's not. Everything is possible and everything is illogical. This is where the brain or the mind that's been hijacked, that's not communicating very well with your higher self, has lost the connection to truth. And the truth is, you will find nothing in nature that's linear. There are no straight lines in nature. Time is an illusion. It's not linear. So this is where you have to start to think, okay, illogical is what gets you to those places that you desire. You have to start understanding that the way we have been programmed to think, we do the opposite. Now, I want to talk about health right now in the biofield, because this is where I want people to get in their mind's eye, what's really going on. So you have the Rockefellers who control everything, and their main goal is to dumb down and literally poison humanity. Depopulation is an ongoing thing. It's not a once in a blue moon thing. And also all kinds of tests are done on us because, they need to figure out how they can eliminate us or how they can cripple us. What can they do? So we've been tested on forever. But what I want all of you to understand is this. Every one of us has a biofield. It's like a field of energy that is constantly in communication inside our world and outside our world. And the information it takes in, it expresses within our body. So think about the information that all of humanity is exposed to on a daily basis. So what I want to get to is the information that all humanity is exposed to, especially more now than ever, is what? It's everything that takes you out of harmony with your natural frequency with our Creator. You've got war. You've got, all the poisons in our sky and our food and our water. You've got the narrative that is based in what? Fear. So fear is the number one biofield hacker, if you will, that will harm the body because it almost eats away at your field. It brings darkness into your field. You can almost see like dark speckles of where it's affecting the field in certain ways. And when you affect the biofield, my friends, you affect your physical body. I want to give examples of information so you understand it. Information is anything that is matter, but it's also our way we think, the way we feel, and our actions as well. So it's food, okay? Energy is food. It's what we take into our minds in terms of our thoughts, the information, what we learn, okay? What we're watching with our physical eyes. Everything is energy. So everything, it doesn't matter what it is, thought is energy. Everything is energy. So when you look at the news and when you look at mainstream, and I've talked about this so many times, the whole entire narrative has been hijacked. They wanted to hijack our perception, and they have. In most cases, most of the world's perceptions hijacked. The awakening is hoping to get people's perception from being hijacked to start to see through that veil. That is the whole point of this awakening, is to help people wake up from the hypnotism. Now let's go back to the mirror just for example. If you are all dressed up, you look really nice, and you're looking in the mirror, what reflects back? Exactly who you are. You're seeing a very beautiful expression reflecting back to you in the mirror. Now, if you were to want to change what the mirror is reflecting back to you, if you want to change the hair color, if you want to put more makeup on, or if you want to pierce your ear, what do you have to do? You have to change what's reflecting into the mirror. You have to go on the inside. You have to change what you're doing here and then go back in front of the mirror, and then what happens? The mirror will reflect something new. You have to change something, which is an exchange of information, and the mirror will exchange that and bring you back what you've given it. So this is where I want all of you to understand with the Rockefeller, with their pharmaceutical petroleum poisons. What are they doing? We present with a symptom. We present in the physical body, in the mirror, with some type of dis-ease. All the petroleum drugs do is try to fix what you see in the mirror. Do you guys get that? So let's go back to when the Rockefellers took over our educational system and our health system, basically. So when they created the information for the doctors, they made sure that petroleum drugs were the only option. Any doctor that even thought about holistic health, anything to do with nature and healing ourselves naturally, was not allowed. They were threatened and they were not allowed. This is documented. You can find this anywhere if you're willing to do the research. So holistic health, understanding natural medicine, was removed. They wanted you to have the petroleum poison because it doesn't heal you. It never will heal you on a permanent basis. It might temporarily fix something, but you have to remember the mirror I just said. It's trying to fix the reflection. The reflection is not what's causing the dis-ease. The reflection is the expression of the dis-ease. And the dis-ease is in your radial body. It's in your invisible self. It's the biofield. The biofield is being hacked energetically. And this creates the expression of dis-ease in the human body. So this is where they've got us again. When you wanted to earn more money, they got you chasing your tail, working 10 jobs, working 1 billion hours. Never going to happen. Now you want health. Well, guess where they got you chasing again? In the 3D physical world, using things in the manifested world to fix the manifested expression. You can't fix anything there. You, my friends, don't need pharmaceutical drug. Now, don't take this as I'm giving any information. I better make sure I say that. But what I'm trying to get all of you to understand is if you're taking drugs now, don't go off them. But start to understand that our minds, our frequency of information, if we shift it, affects our biofield. We're in direct communication with our biofield at all times and our multiple dimensional selves. So what am I trying to say here? What I'm trying to say is everything in your 3D material world, including your own physical body, is an expression of your spirit. Your soul resides outside of this world, but you're in this world. You're not disconnected from anything. You have never been disconnected from your creator or your multiple dimensional selves. But when you are tricked into believing so, when you still have access to all of your psychic abilities, which is your intuition, which is your imagination, which is the gut feeling that you have, which is the butterflies you get. This is all frequency, guys. And what is that when you peel that back? Information. Intuition is information. How many of us get intuition, which is information, and it goes against the way we think? So we don't do it because it doesn't feel like it's normal. Because normalized for us is all against our natural frequency. Everything that human beings do right now is literally taking them outside of harmony with our earth, with our soul, with the solar system, with our creator. And no one is surprised by that. So how do you get back in connection and in harmony? You go within. So you're looking in the mirror and you're sick. So here's how ridiculous they've tricked us into believing, because we knew no better, that we need to take stuff in the 3D world, petroleum poisons, to fix an organic infinite, intelligent, multidimensional being. Can you go into the mirror and change what your reflection is? Yell at it. Tell it to do affirmations. Tell it all the great information about how powerful you are. But is the illness being changed in the mirror, or does the illness shift in the person that's reflecting in the mirror? This is what I want you guys to understand. The 3D world is the mirror. You call it a hologram, it's the mirror. Now you can play there. It's like God's playground. It's there for us to experience. It's there for us to pivot. It's there for us to evolve. It's there for us to accrete more energy so that we can ascend. But most human beings don't accrete any new energy. They're too sick to, and they don't understand what energy is and how their biofield is either taking in the right energy of information or it's taking in the hurtful energy of information. And they've set this whole entire matrix up to bring in information to harm our biofield. I know most of you have probably heard that our thinking causes disease in our body. If you're exposed to stress, you hear that stress causes dis-ease in the body. Well, there is a whole scientific chemical factory that takes place, and all the different hormones and all the different exchanges of cellular connection happens when you're in a state of stress. We've already discussed the fight or flight response and how detrimental that is to not only the human body, but it is first your biological, your bioenergetic body is what's interfered with first, and then it expresses into your physical body. So when you think about the fight or flight response, which is where all of humanity lives on a daily basis, I don't think many humans escape the fight or flight response ever in their life, because when they're sleeping, they're still thinking. They're still thinking about what took place in that day, or what they seen on the news, or what they read in the newspaper. And all of this is still information being processed in your biofield. And then whatever information that is, the cells have ears. The cells are listening, and they take on the information and express it. This is how everything works. So my point is this. Yes, you can't avoid what they're putting in our foods. Do your very best to eat as healthy as you can. But don't live from fear. It's not easy to do. It's something you have to really understand from the inner space of who you are. The internal you, okay? The internal you is more powerful. Now, the physical you is powerful. I don't want you to disrespect the physical. But you have to understand through quantum physics that most of what you see in the physical world is empty. And we're focused on all of the stuff that's empty. We should be focused on where everything is, where most of the power is, and that's in the invisible. Change your perception. Change where you're putting your intentions and your energy. And that changes your biofield. Your biofield is an exchange. It's an antenna. It's an exchange of information. So you can choose the information that you want to bring in through your environment. I did a bunch of reels on this a couple weeks ago. We'll go back and watch them. This is where I want all of you to really please listen to this. Everyone comes into my DMs and they're like, Kimberly, they're poisoning us. They're changing our food. They're poisoning our air. So yeah, they have access to everything we need currently on this planet to live, right? But that's information. But we can override information by the way we think and our energy that we express ourselves from. Who we are shifts our biofield. So if we change the information in our biofield, it can protect us. It can change the expression in the 3D world. So what do I mean by that? There are things right now that all of us cannot control physically because it's being bombarded and rained upon us. I get that. But there's also information that's coming in that we're voluntarily taking in if you're still doing so, which is going to horror movies, which is watching the stuff on TV that's horrific, that's taking place and all over, right? It's the information about the fear of climate change. It's all done in fear. And this is information that keeps the body in fight or flight, which detriments the body through the biofield. Because it's almost like taking the oxygen out of certain areas on a long-term basis. Well, if you do that with anything, eventually the organs in our body, things are going to shift. They're not going to work properly. And then you'll start to see them manifest in the physical world, in your physical body. Your environment is the news. Your environment is what you're hearing in sitcoms, in movies. Like you just look at sitcoms, for example. You look at 2.5 Men. This is a scenario, even though it was funny, Even though you may like the actor, you got to remember Hollywood is all about programming human beings. When you look at that, you've got a narcissistic man downgrading women throughout all of the 2.5 Men series. Now, most people might not even catch on to that. They're going to think it's funny. Well, it's not funny. This is subliminal programming. This is predictive programming, that it's okay that this is how a woman is treated, how a woman is looked upon. Now, there's many things about men as well out there, but what I'm trying to get at is even as simple as the sitcoms, we're always being programmed in a negative way that takes you outside of your natural connectiveness to source. Unconditional love is not a narcissist. The way that those programs are about that and all about abusing sex and all the fighting and warring, CSI shows, all of this takes you out of harmony with who you are because it doesn't have anything to do with unconditional love vibration. It has everything to do with fear, and you're in a tight spot when you're watching these shows. These things you have to pay attention to. Your environment is your mind, and your mind is expanded through multiple dimensions. And when you raise your frequency, like I've shared with you, you access and you move into multiple dimensions. The pineal gland is that's why it's the seat of the soul. It is like the most powerful radar. It brings in information to you. It allows you to tap into multiple dimensions. It allows you to tap into your higher self, into your psychic abilities of telepathy, of knowingness, direct cognition. Knowing without knowing. All of you who know things without having any proof, there's nothing wrong with you. And don't believe anyone who says, well, you don't have proof, so this isn't true. That's part of our natural nature as soul beings. The higher evolved we move into our higher self, the higher in dimensions that we start to ascend into. You don't need information outside of you to prove what's right or what's wrong. You already know the information because the wisdom is within your cells in your body. This is the truth. Hijacking our perception is hijacking our mind. It's taking our environment and focusing it on one area, negative, fearful environments. Do you see how they know? They know how we move, how we roll in this matrix. And like I've shared in many other reels, they cannot create. When they decided to break free, the fallen angelics fall from the grace of God, they no longer have that life force energy moving to and through them. They no longer can create. That's one of God's gifts. That's why we have an imagination. We're able to co-create with our Creator and create beautiful things. Part of our soul contract, part of our purpose, but we're able to use our imagination to create infinite possibilities. This is what the quantum field is about. Everything is done, like God said. You just have to become a frequency match to bring it into your existence. This is the power that all of you have. And this is where I want you to understand. They know this. So they've used every human being to manifest their timeline because we are creators. We need to unplug from the environment. This environment is toxic. It's not even real. It's AI environment. We have been hijacked without our permission and without our even knowledge that we're living in a world that's not our organic world. And you can unplug from it as soon as you unplug from their lies. Now, back when I talked about the atomic level attacks that we're getting, we all know that these injections were going after our DNA to alter our DNA. Some of you have heard myself say it, and other people are saying that they're trying to alter our God code, the matrix, the template that our morphogenic field is based upon. And yes, this is definitely something they're trying to do because this will eventually stop humanity from ascending. But this isn't what this reel is about. This is about the understanding that you have the power within you and access outside in the quantum field, which is where they're coming from. What do you think the quantum computers are about? You think it's just about storing information? It is not just about storing information. The quantum computers are accessing the quantum field, the astral fields. It's a lot darker than you think. So you and I are like quantum computers. This is why they have to come at us from where we are. They have to copy what we are. We are quantum beings. We live in the infinite ocean of all possibility, of all energy. We are powerful. And when you begin to tap back into that, your biofield begins to heal. It starts to emanate what you become. You have to become what you are, which is the real, authentic you. Your soul expression. This is why it's so vital that you remove the imposter and the mask and start to be authentic. So when you're starting to alter us at an atomic level, which is what they're doing, when you change the angular rotation and particle spin of the atoms within our body, this, what most don't maybe understand, because where do we learn this in school? This affects your health. This affects your whole well-being. It affects the way you think. It affects everything, including your biofield. And it's almost like a shield around you. When the shield is not working properly, your biology, your physiology does not work properly. It's affected. So of course they want your immune system down. This is related to your biofield. And let's peel back what that's related to: information. So even though some people may have inadvertently taken this shot, I don't want you to believe that you're doomed, because you're not. You have to understand that yes, this information is within your body, but infinite intelligence, love, higher levels of consciousness, this is where you have to understand nothing can override God. Unless you're asleep and ignorant and you don't remember who you are. And it's the belief that makes it so. So this is why they're trying so hard to bombard us with everything they can, attack humanity, God's image and likeness creation, in every way possible, because that's how powerful we are. And they still can't take us out, especially once we know this. So this is where all of you have to remember who you are. Start to feel into your intuition, and wherever it leads you, go. Trust it, because you will start to create a different biofield around yourself. You will begin to heal your body if it's necessary. It will boost your immune system, which is absolutely necessary. But we were all meant to have an immaculate immune system, an infinite immune system. We were all naturally meant to have that. It's not natural for it to have a problem. It's not natural for humanity to be sick. It's not natural for us to die at 70, 80, and 90. So we're going to tap back into our natural self. This is what the ascension's all about. These are those high plasma rays that's coming through our sun here. All of you have to understand, nothing's lost unless you allow it. Remember who you are. Access this information outside of the 3D. It's inside you. You know everything right now. So what I want all of you to know is we are all capable of changing ourselves at the atomic level. What do you think we're doing with our negative thoughts and living in fight or flight? We are automatically changing the angular rotation and particle spin of our own atomic self through fear, because it's information. This is what I mean. When you understand how these species have come at us, they're not coming at us physically. They're coming at us atomically in the quantum field. They're coming from the invisible, and we think it's all happening in the physical. It is not. It is not. So you and I can change through our own thinking. By changing our environment, we can change our own atoms, our own atomic cells and structure, which means that we are able to heal ourselves. Our biofield responds to the information we give it. Do you understand that? This is what epigenetics is. You know, we were told this huge lie in science, the false science, that our genes are our guaranteed biology. I love Bruce Lipton because he blew that out of the water. So when you heal the biofield, when you even understand you have this biofield around you, when you understand how it interacts with this information, because we're around and surrounded by energy. Energy is information. You can't avoid it. You can't hide from it. It is everywhere. So you want to be around information that adds value to you. You want to be around information that enlightens you, that brings you higher up in consciousness. And everything has to eventually come back to what? Unconditional love. Service to others, not selfishness. The materialistic realm, the materialism is what pulls you so far away from your soul, from from source, because it's out of alignment. To put your focus on materialistic, idealistic things like celebrities, like wanting the expensive purses or wanting the expensive things, and to be martyred as some type of person that has everything because of the material. Don't get me wrong. Every one of you if you desire to be wealthy, are allowed to be wealthy. Every one of you can have those designer purses, but it has to come from a different dynamic of consciousness. Are you coming from it from lack so you can be looked at like a martyr, like on a pedestal? That's 3D materialism. That's narcissistic. That's low frequency. Or are you coming from the desire that you feel it in your heart? You deserve this wealth. You want to be wealthy. You want to have those nice things, but you're not coming from the nastiness. You're coming from wholeness. Our skin is the biggest organ. We need to absorb this information, the higher frequency coming from our sun, and we're blocking it. You have to ask, why would they want you to block this information from coming into your soul body? There you go. Then you want to look at the fact of sunglasses. Now, they make it cool. Wear sunglasses, you're cool. What do sunglasses do? They block the rays of the sun from coming in and connecting with your pineal gland. So calcifying our pineal gland does definitely happen through many avenues. Definitely fluoride is a huge one. But they try to prevent it from actualization, from being it what it's supposed to be, from the magnetite crystals from being engaged with the energy of the sun by blocking them with sunglasses, by telling you not to look up at the sun. Oh my God. Let me tell you guys, I have looked at the sun almost all my life. I have looked directly into the sun almost all my life, and I have never wore sunblock. So this is where I want you guys to understand that there are a lot of lies that you might have bought into. But now that you're starting to open your minds and realizing there's always nefarious ways of why they tell you to do things, because it's never for the greater good of you. So why did I do these reels? I shared it at the very beginning. I'm hoping this is going to bring more insight to the ones that are ready to hear this. Activations within your body through information. That's what activations are. It's codes, it's information, it's light. You are light. You are light and you are powerful, and you have to understand at the fundamental level, when you begin to unplug from the negative information that is being bombarded all over you, everywhere, you start to know this at a much deeper level, because you're starting to remove the dark veil. You're starting to see the light, and more light is coming in, and light is information, knowledge, and wisdom, and you will know the truth. This is where intuition comes in, and you'll know to trust it. You don't trust right now what you think because it's been hijacked. You have to trust with your intuition, with your heart. Your heart is under attack right now. This is huge because your heart senses before your brain. So your heart is whole. It's not duality. The brain is duality. Your heart is wholeness. This is where you have to understand. Come back to thinking from your heart. Your heart has neurons. Most of you know that. You have a heart brain. Come back from thinking first here before you go here until you harmonize both, which will take some time. And then if you've noticed, most of people who were supposed to retire are not. And anyone who did retire are coming out of retirement. Why? Because of the stranglehold they've always had on the monopoly of our economy. So it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all lies. And when you see through it, you start to take back your power, and don't allow them to dictate to you when you will express your soul power, your spiritual side of yourself. You need to understand, not coming from an egotistical place. You know when to go. You know who to be. So do it. The context of us needing a savior, the context of us being inferior, the context that we need something outside of ourselves to survive, to make our dreams come true, to live that life that we want. One of the biggest things that I remember as a child thinking was ridiculous is how they've brainwashed us into believing that, if you work hard for us, these alien species, you work your ass off for next to nothing. And when we tell you at 65 years of age, because we've altered your age limit to roughly 100 years, we'll let you live maybe peacefully for a couple years, maybe 20, 30 years. You retire at 65. What good is that? That's the limitation at its finest. This is ridiculous. I remember hearing that going, I'm not going to be told to retire at 65 and live my life then. So most humanity literally puts their life on hold until then. They wanted us to believe that God is separate from us. What I want you to understand is when you believe in your mind that God is separate from you, you will not be as entangled with God. You will not be able to access the information through your psychic abilities, through your intuition, through your imagination, through the way we communicate in information, because there's time and space there. When you understand that you're one, automatically time and space is removed and you're automatically connected. It's like a direct line. It's like, no more scrambling of the picture. It's crystal clear. So this is where whenever there's time or space, which is the illusion that something is outside of you, you're going to create like a disharmony, a slower signal, less communication between you and source, you and your higher selves. So this is where I want all of you to understand. There's nothing separate. That's the mirror. That's the hologram. And it's full of lies. You are connected, and you always were, to the creator, the one creator. And you do not need things outside of you to live a healthy life, to create the life of your dreams, to express your soul's contract and purpose. It's all within you. It's all within you. All the knowledge and wisdom that you ever needed, I told you, was in your morphogenic blueprint, in your DNA. You just need to access it and then trust your gut feeling, trust your intuition, and it will guide you to where you need to go. And if abundance is part of it, which is abundance is everything, and you want to have a lot of money, or you want to own a business, or if you want to travel the world, it doesn't matter what it is. Each spiritual being has an individual purpose. And here's the thing that I know. Part of the contract when we signed it is, as long as we fulfill our soul purpose and contract, we are able to access the life of our dreams. It's when we don't fulfill our soul contract and purpose is when we don't live the life of our dreams, because we're out of harmony with who we are. This is why humanity looks the way they